guys, I'm Aveline and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So today we're building another tiny house. I did warn you guys, was it yesterday I think, that the next couple of houses will either be, it'll be mostly tiny houses, but also smaller houses. I'll probably do a 40 by 30 for next Saturday, I think. But other than that, it's just going to be like 30 by 20s or 20 by 15s, probably also a 20 by 20. I'm not entirely sure, but mainly just smaller houses because pre-recording does take a lot of time, so I don't really have like the extra time to do bigger builds these days, unfortunately, but they'll be making a return to the channel at some point, I promise you guys. But yeah, so today we're building another tiny house, and this one is kind of inspired by the teen hangout that I did a couple of months ago. I don't know how many of you guys have seen that, but I basically built two trailers or containers that were stacked on top of each other, and it basically looked like, or the way that I was doing the interior, I was trying to make it look like a bunch of teens would have taken over these two containers and sort of renovated them into a teen hangout. But I wanted to do one of those builds, but purely residentials, and yeah, you can sort of see the teen hangout in the background sometimes because it is in the same area. I built it in the same area, so here in Oasis Springs, I think this is the most eastern area of the map. Yeah, definitely the most eastern area of the map. But yeah, that is what we're doing today. Basically a residential version, but also slightly smaller version of the teen hangout that I did a couple of months ago. So I had a lot of fun with this one. It's got room for 4 Sims overall. It is a little bit... Okay, so I want to explain it a little bit because there's a kitchen in the bottom house, so in the container in the bottom, and they have the laundry machines in the top house. So the top house doesn't have a kitchen, which means that they'll either have to use the grill that I put outside or they have to use the kitchen in the bottom house. And I know that is a little bit weird, but in my mind, I kind of figured that either it's a pair of friends who live in these houses, or it could be like a pair of siblings or something. I was kind of imagining the bottom one to be for the brother and then the top one to be for the sister. I thought that would be a little bit fun. But of course, as always, you can have anyone living in this house. I just feel like since the kitchen is in the bottom house and the laundry machines is in the top house, they kind of have to be really good friends or siblings or, you know, family of some sort, because they're gonna have to like walk into each other's houses quite often. So, but that was the only way I felt like I could fit everything into these two buildings. So, or these two houses, these two containers. Would you call the top one a container? Because it's not made of metal, it's made of wood, but it's shaped like a container. So I don't fully know. I really wanted to add some color to it, so that's why I didn't go for the metal wallpaper that we got with Strangerville. I went with this kind of like these wood panels that we got with Island Living, because they looked like they'd been weathered a bit, like they were a little bit... They're not solid color, there's some wear and tear on the color. Am I making sense? So I decided to go for that one because I thought that would fit the bottom wallpaper a little bit better than just like solid red, you know? So like the base game red is very like pink, it's very bright, bold red, and it's just a little bit too much. I kind of wanted it to have this sort of worn look. So I figured the Island Living wallpaper would fit the upstairs house a little bit better. And yeah, so for the interior, I basically decided to go for more of like an industrial vibe for the bottom house, and then for the top house, I decided to go for a very colorful kind of bohemian sort of vibe, or it's a little bit more hippie up there. I really like that vibe, so I've been missing decorating with it because the last bohemian apartment I did was more like a toned down sort of blue, white, gray sort of color scheme. So I wanted to go for something maybe a little bit more colorful this time. So I went a little bit crazy up there. There's a lot of red and green and yellow, but really loving that sort of interior. It's a lot of fun to decorate as well, but I figured it would be kind of fun as well if the two were sort of opposites a little bit, so that's why I went for a more industrial interior for the bottom for the bottom trailer, also, or for the bottom container, also because it fit the metal wallpaper that we're using on the exterior very well, in my opinion at least. Also, if you want to play in this house or these houses and you really want your household to have pets, all you need to do is add a food bowl somewhere, because both of the houses actually have bathtubs, so you can have a dog and bathe them. Of course, if you want them to have a cat, you need to figure out a place to put the litter box, but that should be fine. You can put it under the staircase outside, actually. That should be completely fine. It doesn't bug anything, and your Sims can still walk up the stairs, and your cat will also be able to get to the litter box, so that should be completely fine. But yeah, just in case you want to play in these houses and you do want to play with pets, it should be completely possible. So I do want to point out, no, they do not have a sink in this little kitchen, because they do need a counter they can cook on, and I figured it was fine because they do have a sink in the bathroom. So, oh, did I just say they had a bathtub on the ground floor? They have one on the second floor anyways, because they do have a sink in the bathroom. So your Sims will just go to that sink and do the dishes after they've eaten. It works completely fine. I have play tested it as well, so everything is fine. I also play tested this little sitting area right here because it's pretty close to the stove, so I wanted to make sure that both the stove and also the fridge were working and everything is good. It's very cramped together, but everything works completely fine. And of course, they also needed a coffee maker. I kind of feel like coffee makers and industrial interior for some reason just go hand in hand. So I don't know, it felt natural to just put it over there in the corner. So they do have a coffee maker, yeah, but no tea brewer, not this time. I usually go for the tea maker or tea brewer. That's such a weird word for me to pronounce. Anyways, instead of the coffee maker, because I personally like tea more than coffee in real life. I actually really don't like coffee, so I like to go for the tea instead of the coffee. But for this little house, I decided to just, give them a coffee maker instead. It's not really important to the build, but sometimes it's fun to explain anyways, so yeah. But we moved on to the exterior in the top house now. So at first, when I built the exterior, I wasn't sure what kind of interior style I was gonna go for the upstairs one, so I decided to start out with this gray wooden panels, flooring, whatever. That's from, I think it's from Spooky Stuff Pack, yeah. And I definitely changed it later on to a bit of a warmer color instead, just because the gray with the red colors in this house or in this interior in this room, and also the yellows, it doesn't really go very well together in my opinion. I just felt like it was a little too, because yellow and red are warmer colors, and gray is a cold tone. It's not actually a color, it's more of like a shade. So it just it wasn't really working together, so I decided to go for a brown later on. And of course, since they're very into this kind of bohemian interior, I was like, this Sim that lives in this house is definitely creative, so they need a piano and they also need an easel on their little terrace as well, so I decided to put one out there later on. So they're a creative Sim. I don't know about the bottom, like the Sim that lives in the bottom house. They do have a laptop in the dining, or not in the dining room, but in the kitchen. So I put one on the dining table that they can just carry around. If they want to use it outside, they can take it outside. With laptops, you can just drag them off the tables they're on and put them in your Sim's inventory, which is why I feel like they work perfectly for tiny houses, because you don't need that full setup, like a full desk with, the whole thing. You just have to put a laptop on the dining table, and then as soon as you start gameplay, you can just drag it into your Sims inventory. It's so practical. So I decided to put one of those in the bottom house. So I feel like maybe the Sim that lives in the bottom house works as a freelance programmer or something. That could possibly work. I mean, they do work on a laptop, so it's kind of limited what they can do, because it's not realistically they would need a very high-end laptop for that to work, I think. Not actually sure. I don't know much about programming, to be honest. I just feel like whenever you work on computers, you do need a top-end computer, because you have to have everything just run smoothly, and yeah, you need the top specs to do that, apparently in my head you do. So I don't really know about that, but they could definitely be a freelance programmer or something like that. But I think other than that, we're just doing some landscaping actually around the house. I was not sure what to do about the landscaping here because we're back in Oasis Springs, and Oasis Springs is like my nightmare when it comes to landscaping. You guys know, if you watch my videos for a while, I like to go crazy with plants when it comes to landscaping exteriors. Also putting plants on interiors or in interiors, I feel like it adds a lot of life, so I do that quite often as well. I've gotten a few comments on it lately. You know, if you download one of my houses and you're not a plant person, you can just delete the plants. It's not like you're allowed to do that. You can just download it and delete the plants. I just like to add plants when I do interiors. You can just like put a lamp there instead, or I don't know, something else. So I just like to go for plants. But when it comes to Oasis Springs, everything is kind of, because it's a little bit more dead here, the landscaping. We have a lot of cacti, but I've never seen this kind of landscaping in real life, and it's really difficult for me to find in pictures as well, so I don't really know what it looks like, and that makes it a bit of a challenge to me. So I have to like tone it down compared to what I usually do with my landscaping, because obviously we're dealing with cacti, and I don't know, and also desert, so I don't know, it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes, but I feel like it turned out okay this time, to be honest. I just kind of tried to put it in patches, so it's not all the way around the house, it's just like in small, patches here and there, and I think it works okay, but let me know what you think. But I think that's about it for this build, so if you guys like it, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye!
Catching the flight, I'm coming home, back to the place I've always known. Home, home. See me soon, I gotta run. We're gonna have a lot of fun and spending this summer alone. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. You were only like a friend, till we met the other day. Didn't want the night to end, and now there's a wind of change. I've never ever felt this way. You're stuck inside my mind, deep inside my mind. I think that now's the time, longing for you.